everyone, it's Bailey. Welcome back to the channel and thanks so much for tuning in. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite product picks from the brand Profusion. I've been on their press list for a couple of years at this point, and so as a result have been able to try quite a wide variety of the products that they have. And you'll actually even see that one of these products I've talked about since I got it like years and years ago. It's been that long-term of a favorite, but I feel like overall they're pretty overlooked here on YouTube. I mean, there are quite a few videos about them, but when it comes to popular or cult classic brands, this just doesn't seem like one of those brands for me. Does it for you? So I recently did a video, and spoiler alert, this is included in my top 5, but recently did a video about the Paradise palette that they recently sent me, and a lot of you guys in the comment section of that video said you wanted to see more about Profusion. So these are my top 5 picks from the brand. If you're looking to try them for the first time, these are what I would recommend going with just to start dipping your toe into them. Or if you already know and love the brand, these are what, and you're looking for something new to try, definitely check these out. So first up, naturally, is the Paradise palette. And in case you didn't miss the video review I did of this, and I also did 3 looks using this palette in case you're interested in seeing it actually in use. But part of the reason I love it is because of the variety of colors and textures. You get mattes, you get shimmers, but they also include popular like crushed metallic textures, which up until now, I felt like had been kind of exclusive and very popular in high-end palettes like Natasha Denona, Pat McGrath. But here you start to see more complex textures and pigments, and I just love how it complements the color palette in here. It just makes it a really fun and diverse palette, and the quality is just really, really great. I feel like you can see in the video where I do the tutorial, the mattes blend nicely, they don't stick, they aren't dry or chalky or anything like that, and the shimmers, I mean, naturally are just beautiful as well, as are the crushed metals. So love this palette for so many reasons, but if you want to know more, go watch that video. Next up, I will also probably gloss over this because this is a palette that I have mentioned many times here on the channel, so I don't want to belabor the point in case you've been with me here for a while and have heard me rave about it before. But it has to be said because it's easily maybe my #1 favorite, and especially the product that's been in my favorites for the longest time from Profusion. It is the Strobe and Glow 9 Shade Highlight Palette and Brush. Okay, the brush, I don't know why they put that on there, but basically it is a highlighter palette, and as someone who loves to mix, match, layer highlight, and wear more colorful highlights, this kind of has it all. Things don't get too colorful, but you have some really interesting duochromes, like this fairy dust looks like a white highlight maybe from your vantage, but when you get up close and you actually see the swatch, it actually has a beautiful blue-purple iridescent shift to it. Same with Cotton Candy, you know, this looks like it's more of a pink highlight here, but then it has like this interesting, cooler, almost blue-toned shift to it as well. Sugar Crush down here has more of a white base with that strong yellow golden shift to it, so lots of beautiful complex shades in here, along with your classics that you might want to wear as your base, but the quality is amazing. Whether you wear them alone or mixed together, you just can't go wrong with this palette. In a similar vein, I want to talk about the Blush and Bronze 9 color Blush and Bronze palette here. So Profusion has a few of these, I think. They have a lighter one, even though this doesn't indicate that this is a deeper bronzer. I know I had a set maybe back in the day where it was just a tiny bit lighter, but I like the fact that these are bolder. One, because they suit a wider variety of skin tones, and so many of these are easily built. So if you have fair to light skin, you can use these bolder shades, just use a lighter hand, but they're really easily layerable so that you can get the kind of like the level of pigment you see in the pan, but without it looking like chalky or patchy or anything like that. And you also get a mix of textures in this palette as well. So you have some shimmers in here. This Oh La La is kind of like a NARS Orgasm dupe. I feel like so many brands do that, but it's still a nice kind of classic color to have on hand when you want it. And by that I mean that it is just a peachy pink with a gold shimmery shift. Very classic in the blush world, but you also have more of a cotton candy pink with this First Date, or Bloom or Splendid. This coral Bloom is more of a hot red coral, and then great bronzy shades here as well. Elated is more of a shimmery bronze shade. But overall, I feel like these colors and this palette as a whole just have a little bit of something for everyone, and you won't break the bank with it. Okay, next up, let's talk about what I'm wearing on my eyes right now, which for a change of pace is not a palette. This is called an eye sparkler, and it includes a sparkling eye topper as well as a waterproof shadow stick. And the shade that I have is Glitz. They actually have quite a few of these color combinations on the website, but the shadow stick truly is waterproof. Like, this thing will not budge. It gives you this beautiful metallic finish. The color is really rich. The one that I have is more of a copper, but it's not too warm of a copper. If you're afraid of like ultra warm coppery tones on your eyes because you feel like it makes you look sickly, I wouldn't hesitate to check this out because it's not ultra warm, but it's definitely a metallic copper. And then the sparkling eye topper, I think we'll all see a strong resemblance to the Stila glittery eye topper they have as well. Basically, very similar packaging, same doe foot applicator. There's a little bit of a difference in the texture here. I find that the Stila is more of a complex glitter, having kind of a shimmery base with then different sizes and shapes, maybe not shapes, but different sizes and colors of glitter. So they just have a little bit more complexity, whereas at least in this Glitz duo, the sparkling eye topper seems like a pretty flat silver glitter mixed in with a very light copper base. So not identical to the Stila Glitz shadows, but if you are looking for something that's a little bit more budget friendly, giving you the same effect and something that doesn't budge, this is really fantastic. And for my fifth pick, this is not something that will probably appeal to a wide variety of people because it's very colorful, but I wanted to include it because it's an amazing product, and especially now that we have palettes like the Riviera palette from Anastasia coming out. It's summertime. I think people naturally incorporate more color into their not every day, but maybe more festive eye makeup looks. I felt like this was a good one to include in here. This is the Spectrum palette. It's a 10 shade pro pigment palette. Yeah, get a load of that. It's a full rainbow in a palette. These are all matte shades, and I was shocked the first time I stuck my finger in one of these, only to find that it was like, I mean, it doesn't take much. It does not take much for full, intense pigmentation with each and every one of these shades. And even though they're matte, they're still very smooth. They're not dry, not chalky. Like you can see when these blend out, they don't sheer out into nothing like a lot of matte shadows can. They are just, they have that pigment and they maintain that pigment. And so to the extent that you might be feeling like you want to dip your toe in some more color, you want to jump on that Riviera bandwagon, but you don't necessarily want to spend Riviera money on it, this could be a good alternative for you. And so those are all of my picks from Profusion, which is not to say that the brand doesn't have other great products going for it. These just happen to be what I've tried and what I think really stand out from the brand. I think I mentioned this when I did the review of the Paradise palette, but Profusion has a lot of great products and they tend to follow the wave of trends that a lot of beauty brands do. So like they have a Sienna's palette that's very reminiscent of modern Renaissance. Great quality. It's just not something like, it feels like the berry toned palette wave has kind of passed. And so these were things that I felt like were either have been mainstays for me, like that highlight palette, and that no one really has done quite the same yet, or palettes that I just feel like are relatively unique to them currently. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed hearing them. If you were looking to dip your toe into the Profusion pool, hope this gave you some ideas as to products you can try. Besides that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Ooh, I still have shadow on my hands.